Hi, this is Holly Bruning with my book blessing. I'm going to go ahead and begin with the story of Persepolis, the story of a childhood by Marjane Satrapi. This is the first graphic novel I ever read, and I enjoyed it so very much. It was really cool. The story is about a young girl who's growing up during the Islamic Revolution, and she gets to see all these changes in clothing, music, literature that is happening right across her country. And she does a really beautiful job of portraying it with words, but as well as pictures, and showing that how people can change because of fear. But she was so incredibly proud to be from Iran and to be Islamic, and she had this beautiful relationship with religion, and it's really about her coming of age story. This is a series. This is the first one. I have not read the second one, but I would highly recommend this one. The next book is I Am Malala. I have been wanting to read this story for years, and I'm so glad this assignment came around so I could. This is all about this very young girl who is fighting for her rights for education. And her father owns a school, and he has built up this school, and he has a wonderful group of students who are coming and participating and so very eager to participate and believe that the education is their right. And a man in Pakistan, Fazullah, sorry if I said that wrong, begins to threaten and make these outrageous statements to people that girls can't go to school, women have to have their hair all covered, you have to wear, the only thing that can be shown is your eyes. And they had made numerous threats to Malala and her family. And one day when she was leaving school, she was waiting for her little brother. Her little brother wasn't listening because little brothers don't. And a officer came onto her bus and pulled out a gun and shot her in her head. And she was flown to Birmingham, England to receive medical care. And she had to relearn how to do facial expressions, relearn how to talk, all of these pieces. And she, even afterwards, was still so adamant that all young women deserve education. It's not just for boys. And I just watched a video about her, and she even states that she's not angry at the man who shot her. She just thinks that he's not familiar with her belief. So, a truly amazing, inspiring, wonderful story about a young woman. The next two books I picked out, first one is The Bully, and the second one is The Gun. And these are part of the Bluford High series. And these are two books that my students adore to read. The Bully is about a boy who moves to California with his mom while he's in high school, and he has a really hard time adjusting. His name is Daryl, and he is bullied by a boy named Tyree. And through all these ups and downs, Daryl ends up being able to stand up for himself, and Tyree is kind of in this position where he feels like he has to reclaim his turf because people now feel him as being a loser. So that is part one for The Bully. Part two, The Gun, is more about Daryl's story. And Tyree's story. And Tyree has this really hard, sad home life. And he is surrounded by a lot of gangs and a lot of drugs and alcohol. And he decides that he is going to purchase a gun on the back streets. And he purchases the gun going to school to make this decision that he is going to reclaim his turf. And I won't give any spoilers, but truly a fantastic read. My next book, I think someone might have done that, so I have an extra one, is The Name Jar. Oh my gosh, I was moved to tears when I read this story. It's all about a young girl who moves from Korea to America, and she is so embarrassed by her culture that she decides that when she is introduced to her class, that she's not going to tell them her Korean name. She says that she's going to wait to come up with a name. And the students are kind of all not sure how to take that. So they collect a jar and they put all these different names into the jar that are really popular American names to make her start feeling included. And every day she was really looking forward to seeing all the different names that they submitted into the jar. And it took a trip for our young girl, Hune, I'm saying it wrong, to a local Korean market to talk to the cashier, the owner, the proprietor of the store, and he says, what a beautiful name. And Une says, well, this is a name picked from my mother and my grandmother. It means grace. And after this experience at the Korean market, she realizes how proud she is of her heritage and her culture and her name. So she goes to school and she realizes the name jar is not there anymore because she has taken it away. And she introduces herself to the class as her Korean name, and she practices with everyone, the teacher included, on how to say her name. And I just thought it was such a lovely story and how wonderful the children were to be so accepting and be so excited to learn something about a new culture. My next book is called The Rough-Faced Girl, and this is a Native American version of Cinderella. And almost everything is the same except for the names, setting, but the plot is still the same. We have this young girl who is forced to take care of the fire in the wigwam because her older sisters think that that's her job. And so she becomes scarred and her hair becomes all singed, taking care of the fire from all the pops. And her sisters decide that they're going to get new moccasins, new dresses, new jewelry, and they're going to go see the Invisible Man, the prince, and get married. And when they get to the Invisible Man, his sister starts asking questions, and they don't know who the Invisible Man is. So the rough-faced girl gets the idea that she is going to go meet the Invisible Man and marry him because she has seen him multiple times. And so she makes her own dress out of bark. She creates all her own jewelry. She takes an old pair of moccasins, soaks them in water until they become small enough, and then she goes to meet the Invisible Man, and she's able to identify what his sled runners are made of, his bow is made of, and they are able to get married, and she gets to embark on this new life. And just such a beautiful rendition of a classic tale, and I thought, what a beautiful way to share with another culture. Then I have I Am Jazz by Jazz Jennings, and this is my first year with a transgender student, so it was really important for me to read through this book, and it was reaffirming that this is something that really happens, and I think so often people get caught up that being transgender is not something that you're born with, but you are born this way. And it talks about how her family's accepting of her, how she has some trials and tribulations with school, but in the long run, she has her best friends, and she gets to play on the girls' team, and she gets to dress up as a mermaid, so she is happy because she gets to be her true self. And I think what an inspiring message. Then I have Thunder Boy Jr. It's by Sherman Alexie. I love Sherman Alexie. I've read almost everything that he's ever put out. This is about a boy who has this very Native American name, Thunder Boy Jr. He's named after his dad, and he's very self-conscious about his name because he wants just a normal American name like every other kid and his siblings and his mother. And so he starts coming up with some of these crazy different names instead of Thunder Boy Smith Jr. He wants to be called Touch the Clouds or Not Afraid of 10,000 Teeth, and just all these very, very different names. And then at the very end, he realizes that it's his connection to his family, and he becomes very proud of his name. So he gets to be Little Thunder and his dad is Big Thunder. So just a very empowering story about being proud of who you are and where you come from, and it's okay to be unsure for a little bit. And then, because I'm not sure if someone did the name jar or not, I have the next book, Stella by Starlight. It's by Sharon Draper. It's an amazing, super quick read. I'd recommend it for your struggling readers. It's at a very low level for them, and it's an engaging story. It's about a young girl living in North Carolina prior to the Civil Rights Movement, and she's learning about the men in white hoods and why they are dangerous and what is happening to her family. She's learning about why she can't go into certain stores and why she can't talk to certain people that she sees outside. She can't go to certain classes with white people, and it's just a very empowering story. And it's actually based off Sharon Draper's grandmother. So some inspired by true events. So Stella by Starlight, a fantastic read. I haven't had a kid who's read it who didn't like it. So sorry for going on so long. This is my book blessing. I hope you found something that you enjoy.